background. Let me turn on the camera here and get rolling. Sorry you have to see me. I'm actually getting ready to head out of town very, very quickly. But my name is Paul Michael. I am one of the owners of a company called Snap Partners. That what Snap Partners does is we go out and we find things that we can fix. Maybe they're not broken, but we go out. My mentor told me a long time ago, if you find a big solution to a big problem, you usually get a big paycheck. And one of the biggest things that we have found going on in the industry today is in the area of transportation. I know all of you that are on here, a lot of you are going to be so excited about what we're doing and what we're putting together. Some of you have been involved with some of the other companies, Uber, Lyft, and these companies essentially are technology companies. They were put together when apps started coming out. My partner that's going to be on here in a couple of minutes, and I'm excited for him to share some of the vision of what we're going to do. He got me involved in an industry called delivery a few years ago. And we got involved in restaurant delivery, kind of like Uber Eats, DoorDash. He ended up building a company to over 300 cities, $30 million in revenue, ended up selling out and getting out of that industry because we didn't really see a way for it to be a viable long-term solution. But a couple of years later, he and I put together a program along with our other business partners that is exciting in the fact that we went into the delivery space, and instead of charging restaurants an arm and a leg, 15 to 30%, we put together a program where you can actually the restaurants save a lot of money, the customers do it. So one of our biggest things when we put together anything within our Snap ecosystem is we bring value. We want to bring value to our clients, customers. We want to bring value to those that are representing the customers, or in this case tonight, you're going to find out about a lot about with drivers, how we represent them and take care of them. And then also we want to make sure that the employees that work within our company and within our ecosystem and make sure that we make them happy. So we want to make it a value proposition that's good for everyone. And I'll just tell you this, I was not one of those people that was innovative. I was born and raised in Texas. You don't have to talk slower for me, even though people sometimes think you do because I'm from Texas. But I always wanted more. I wanted to be more, but I never really understood how I could get there until I was 22. And I met a guy that goes, listen, if you're willing to work hard, you're willing to find ways around things that most people want, you are going to do extremely well. And so over the last 20 years of my life, I've gone out, and like I said, I've gone out and found big problems, come up with big solutions, and we always get big paychecks. And so when I introduce a partner of mine tonight, he's in the last 2 years built a multi-billion-dollar industry from the ground up. And so you're working with people that have done that. My other business partners the same way. And so we all came together. And one of the things that we're the most excited about trying to fix right now is transportation. 20 years, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, most of you probably had never heard of Uber or Lyft. And then apps came out and it started changing the way we do things. Now, how many of us can agree? Most of us that are on this call tonight have used Uber or Lyft or one of these programs. And what they did is they came in and they disrupted an industry. They came in and they disrupted the taxi cabs. And so many people were upset and mad about it. But what's happened over the last few years is those companies have now become the norm, and they've started taking advantage of all kinds of different people. They charge the client and the customer too much, and the drivers aren't making as much money as they should. And our belief is that you should take care of the people that do the work, and you should give your customers a great, amazing value. So there's a song that I've been playing for the last couple of days. You might want to look it up on YouTube, and it talks about "Welcome to the Revolution." And in our day and age, I think a lot of people are starting to become fed up. And one of the things I really started looking at is why drivers, when it came to Uber and Lyft, weren't happy. And some of the things that they talked about are like earnings fluctuations. And I'm going to go through these quickly because I don't want to take more than 25 minutes tonight. But earnings fluctuations. If you're a driver and you work, and if you've never been involved in the industry, Tony and myself, we've been in the delivery industry. We understand some of the pain points that drivers go through, and some of the things that they really deal with are earnings fluctuations. They never know what they're going to make. There's never anything transparent that says exactly how they're going to do it. High commission fees, and when I say high commission fees, I mean the companies, as in Uber and Lyft and some of these other companies, take an enormous amount of the money whenever the driver is the one putting the wear and tear on their vehicle. If you've ever been a driver, I talked to a driver the other day that in 1 year, they put over 40,000 miles on their car from how many trips they had done. So those are some of the things. Driver ratings. Drivers can get, taken out with no clear-cut reason why. Their driver ratings or deactivation, regulatory issues in different places are a big problem. Oversaturation of drivers, communication challenges. How many of you, if you're a driver in this industry, how many have never been able to get in touch with a human being or get something fixed? They either just tell you to send in an email or take care of that. Technology glitches. These are some of the things that we've heard, and these are some of the things that we as a company are going to be extremely cognizant of and trying to make sure that we take care of. Now, unpredictable passengers, that's one thing we probably won't be able to get taken care of. You're always going to have unpredictable passengers, but one of the things we will be able to do is make it so that everyone that's involved in this industry is taken care of. We want to I always use the term, put a dent in the universe. That came from Steve Jobs. I didn't make it up. But I want to go out and take an industry that has been saturated and not taken care of, not treated people the right way. So I'm going to go through some of the things quickly. Tonight, though, I want you to understand, this is a pre-launch to a launch. We're not launching tonight. You can't download the app tonight and get started. Tonight is just something that you can see what our company's doing, where we're going, how forward thinking we are. And you may have some other things that you want to get involved with our company. We built a multi-billion-dollar company over the last few years, just within Snap alone, with a couple of the industries that my partner brought along. But with this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that can go worldwide, and we're going to show you a little tiny glimpse. Now, when you get done tonight, don't think you're going to know everything. Don't think you're going to understand everything. But how many of us would have loved to have been on the first call with Uber, with Lyft, with Amazon, with any of these things? Now, listen, none of us had the opportunity to do that. But what we've done is we've been given a roadmap that we can go, hey, you know what? We can make a little bit of a tweak here, a little bit of a change here, a little bit something different, and we can go out and do things, amazing things together. Now, this is just a sample of what our app does. I'm going to kind of let it play in the background while I'm talking a little bit, just so you understand that our technology, the gentleman that I brought in, when I sat down with him for the first time, a gentleman named James DeVries, he was one of those people that within 30 minutes of sitting down with him, I knew he was a guy that could take our technology and put it where it needed to be. I've built apps. I've been around a lot of different people and how they do things. And he's one of those guys within 60 days built an app from scratch. I had already bought the technology. He took what we had and rebuilt it from scratch in a very, very short amount of time and put this whole thing together and put something amazing together. Now, you'll be able to use this app. Customers will be able to use this app. And what we have going on in the next 30 days is going to be mind-boggling if you decide to take advantage of it. And so many people get involved in different companies. I know you've heard of different companies that get involved in the network marketing or MLM or whatever you want to call it. And most of those companies, what happens is you got to get in and you got to buy something. You got to buy shampoo or weight loss or all of these different things. And they always talk about residual income. When Tony got me involved in the industry for delivery, it was the most pure form of residual income I'd ever seen. Because guess what? I didn't have to call somebody up and ask them if they were hungry and they want to order food from a restaurant. I didn't have to call them up and beg them to buy food. When they were hungry, they used the app and they ordered, and I got paid every single time. The exact same thing happens within the rideshare industry, is that somebody will go on, if they need a ride, I usually say there's two different types of people in the delivery space, and I think it's probably a little bit true in the rideshare space as well. There's people that don't ever use rideshare. My mother, I promise you, has never downloaded an app and used a rideshare app, but she loves to tell me in the newspaper every time something's wrong. She's in her late 70s. She doesn't use a rideshare app, but how many of us that are on here tonight use it constantly? I looked at it one day when we were in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. I used it 4 times, one of the other apps in one day. And so there's an enormous amount of interest that these apps get. We're going to take what's there and make it better. And so if you just kind of watch in the background, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. but it shows, you know, you can get to your favorite restaurants. I know some of you are looking at Jackie Chan. Some of you are too young to understand who Jackie Chan is. But we have everything that you could need, and this app is getting better on a daily basis. So I'm going to go through just really quickly. In this back office, there'll be a place where you are able to use a referral link, and you'll be able to send that referral out for drivers. You'll be able to send it out for customers. And every time one of those customers does something, you're going to benefit from it. This is not just a technology company that looks as, you know, at customers like they are a nuisance. Our only goal is to bring value to everyone involved, from our clients receiving the best service at the lowest price to the drivers who make the whole thing work. So the app already works. It's not something you can download tonight, but within the next 30 days, we're going to start rolling this out, and we're going to start ramping up, and we're going to start getting this thing in a very big way over the next year. Now, I want to go quickly through our Snap Rides, our two-part program. There's a driver program, and then there's a referral program. And drivers can become referral agents, and referral people can also do driving. So I'm going to go through this quickly. Now, understand, you're not going to get all the information tonight. We're going to be giving you more information over the next 30 days. You can get with the person invited you on. On our website, when we get done tonight, there's going to be a place where you can do questions, frequently asked questions. You can put your questions in there. We'll get those answered. Those questions that you have will probably be important for someone else too. But just understand, we're going to get you the information. This is the beginning thing. And it's so funny. I have people that go, I would need to know this, and I need to know that, and I need to know everything. What you do need to know is that we have experts, and we put millions of dollars into the research. And Tony is actually my partner that's going to speak tonight in a little bit. He's put millions of dollars into building something that no other company on the face of the earth is going to have in association with what they're doing. And we are going to be able to go global over the next couple of years, and you're going to be able to benefit from it. Now, some of these things might change a tiny bit. So don't quote me on everything. It's funny because I have people that'll go, well, you said back 2 years ago that this was this. Things might change, but I promise you this, they will never change where it's a detriment to our drivers or a detriment to our customers or a detriment to our referral partners. So our customers will have the ability to choose. They'll either pay $5 per ride, $30 a month. That will give them unlimited rides. Now, it won't give them unlimited rides from mileage fees, because that's how our drivers get paid. But our referral program will be $5 per ride, $30 a month, or $250 a year. Now, if you pay $30 a month times 12 months, that's $360. You're saving $110. Now, out of every dollar that comes in, 60% of every dollar brought in through our referral program will be paid out to our referral partners. So I'm going to explain how that works. I'm not going to get in depth to it tonight, but 60% out of every dollar will go back out to the people who bring us the business. And you're going to get paid on that residually. We're not going to be spending $100 million on advertising. We're going to pay the people that actually do the work. So driver earnings. Drivers, we're going to undercut what the other companies are doing. My goal is to do it by 20%. But we're going to make it cheaper than what you're doing with other companies. But the driver is going to earn all of the mileage fees. If you're a driver and you've been with another company, I know that you look at your app and you go, well, I think it's this percentage this time, but I don't know exactly how much I'm getting out of the fee. And I was in Utah a few months ago with Tony and some other of our partners. And I took a ride that was almost an hour. It was $263, and the driver only got 95 of it. And when I showed her exactly how much she was making off of it, her face almost hit her jaw almost hit the floor. So what we do is we take that $1 and that goes into our referral program. And I'm going to show you how that works in just a second. But referral earnings, you'll receive residual earnings for every client and every driver that you share our ride program with. So just for an example, on a normal ride, if somebody just does the normal and they get the $5 and then they do the mileage, so the mileage, everything on the mileage fees. Now, listen, there's going to be some wait times involved. There's going to be mileage fees involved, but we're going to undercut what these other companies do. My goal is by 20%, but if it's 16, I'm sure you won't hold me against me. But normal to ride, $5 per ride. If you were the person that sent your link out, you got that person to use the app. Every time they use that app and they paid $5, you're going to get 20% of that. You're going to get $1. Now, the Freedom Pass, if they did that on a monthly basis, $30 a month, you're going to make 20% of that. You're going to make $6 every single month. What if you, and I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but what if you had 100? What if you had 1,000 people that over the next couple of years, you sent that link out to them and they went back to their own city? Say you lived in Miami, but you had somebody that lived in Washington State or Las Vegas or LA or wherever it is, and they use the app and you get paid on it. Because that's the way technology works nowadays. The annual pass, 250, you'd make $50 a year from that person utilizing that. Now, our driver referral program, let's say that you're a driver and you know other drivers. If you refer someone and they become a driver, every single time they do a drive or a trip, you're going to make 20% of that dollar. You're going to make 20 cents. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but there's a gentleman named John Paul Getty who was one of the first recorded billionaires in America. And he said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. If you're a driver, how many drives and trips are you going to have to do to make up for if you had 1,000 drivers out there doing 15 drives a day? So that's a little bit into it. And it's even more intricate than that. We pay down 5 levels. There's all kinds of ways that we're going to pay, but 60% out of every dollar goes back out to the people that are helping us build this company. And that's locally, and then that's globally. So you could not even imagine where you could be. I know people that have built sales teams and customer bases of millions of people over years. And we will be able to show you how to do that, because I know personally my partner, Tony, that I'm going to bring on in just a moment, he's built sales teams globally of over 1 million people. And he's going to be able to show you that. So, but wait, there's more. I've always wanted to say that on something. So what I want to do for a real quickly is bring on my business partner, a gentleman that I met him over 20 plus years ago. And Tony and I have been involved in different businesses over the years. But one thing I will tell you about this gentleman, when he puts his mind to something, when he gets excited about it, he not only puts his time, his effort, his expertise, he puts his money behind it. And so he's been working on something with a group of people. He's actually in Puerto Rico right now. I'm going to be down there seeing him in a few days. But Tony is one of those people that is a phenomenal person. And whenever I brought this to him about doing Snap Rides, and that Snap Rides right now is our working name. We may do some changes. But what I wanted him to share with you tonight is not only will people have the opportunity to benefit from making money from referrals, from doing drives with us, we have a whole new program that is cutting edge, based on nothing that anyone else has ever seen in the earth. So I wanted him to share with it, because when I tell people all the time, Tony's the smart one, I'm the fun one. He's actually becoming more fun now because he travels everywhere and takes the jet. So I wanted Tony Swantek to share a little bit of what we have going on with you tonight.
Thanks, buddy. Can you share the screen again? Sorry, I grabbed the host, so I didn't know if you were doing video. Not that anybody needs to see either of us.
No, not at all.
We're a little hard on the eyes sometimes, I'm sure, but just wanted to go through.
You know what? But we're smart enough, we're good enough, and people like them.
That's right. Little daily affirmations. Nothing wrong with that. Stuart Smalley. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the goal of decentralizing the rideshare industry. And I don't want to get too in depth into the weeds, but when you have a centralized company like Uber, as an example, Uber has got $130 billion valuation. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good valuation. It's the 99th largest company on planet Earth, I think, according to market cap. But the vast majority of that valuation is held by a couple people that are the major investors into Uber. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of how the world works. But what if it didn't have to work like that? What if you built up a valuation and the vast majority of that market cap, that capitalization, that valuation was spread out amongst the users of that service? And that's what we have the ability to do with blockchain And to give you an idea of blockchain, some of you maybe are familiar with Bitcoin, but that decentralized finance to an extent. And a lot of people go, why is that important? It depends on what your vision is for the future. I know this, whether we love the US dollar or hate the US dollar, I kind of like the US dollar, but I remember when gas was 50 cents a gallon. I remember when you could buy a house for 30 grand. I was a little kid at that time. I remember when a college education, you could get $50 a credit hour, under $100 a credit hour. Now you'll spend 200 grand on a 4-year education. You'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on, a 3-bedroom house. And so the value of the dollar has gone down over the years. Used to be able to get an ounce of gold for 30, $34, $35.
Over
I don't know.
2 grand now.
Yeah, spot on gold is 2Gs. So all that means is the value of our dollar is less now than it was in the 70s when we went on off the gold standard. Value of the dollar is less now than it was a couple years ago, before COVID hit, before we printed a few $1 trillion for COVID programs. And we can't control that. If the United States government, the Federal Reserve, decides to print more dollars, that's a centralized currency. They make a decision. We all pay the price for that decision to be made. We're completely out of our hands. When you deal with blockchain, it's basically a decentralized, it's immutable, it's secure, and it's transparent. So what they do is they say, here's the rules we'll govern this program by. And blockchain used decentralized computing. And so to give you an idea, every time somebody goes on a ride for Uber, they have the internet and their servers that document that ride. And they document that transaction. And it remembers that transaction. If I take an Uber somewhere, I can go back right now and look at Ubers I took in Las Vegas when I was at the Formula One race. And go, oh, where did I take it to? How much did I pay? It's logged on their centralized servers. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But with the blockchain, what it does is it utilizes node owners, is what they're called. And it's almost like it rents our computer power. And so instead of having some centralized company that says, I'm going to log all the transactions, pay for all the servers, we have individuals already that are investing in nodes. And when a transaction happens, if I go on a ride and one of Paul's computer nodes logs that transaction on the blockchain, it says, hey, Tony went on a snap ride or whatever it ends up being called. And he went from point A to point B, paid this much money. If his node software logs that transaction, he gets a reward. He gets a reward in the form of a token or a coin. It's called a cryptocurrency. You can move to the next slide. So when he gets that reward, it's basically rewarding him for us basically using using his computer's power for our needs, our ride. And so we're thanking him for doing that in the form of a reward. Cryptocurrency, again, is built on blockchain. It's been adopted faster than any technology in history. It's impacting virtually every industry around the world. Bill Gates says blockchain is the most important innovation since the internet itself. It will change the way we think about money, business, and the world. Let's keep moving. So cryptocurrency basics, 34 million US adults on cryptocurrency, 420 million people globally on cryptocurrency. It's accepted as payment by companies like AMC Theaters, AT&T, Dish Network, Microsoft, Starbucks, Ferrari, Gucci, and more. Value is determined by the coin's supply and demand, which is determined by a coin's utility. Also their market sentiment and other factors. But mainly, I think what's been missing in the cryptocurrency world has been utility. And what I mean by that is if I've got $200 worth of Bitcoin and I go to the grocery store today and I buy $200 worth of groceries, I can't use it. I can't use my Bitcoin to pay for that. So I've got to find someone who wants my Bitcoin, will give me $200 in return for my Bitcoin. So it's a percentage of my Bitcoin, get $200, then I can pay for groceries. It's convoluted. It's not simple. Tough for grandma to do. She wouldn't know how to log in, do anything like that. Now, I know grandma can take Uber. You know, they got cell phones, show them how to download the phone, but they just click on the thing, show where they want to go, and get picked up. What if you could pay for your ride with a cryptocurrency, a token, so to speak, a coin? And what if when I drove somebody, I could get rewarded in that coin as well? What if when I shared the app with somebody, not only could I make money, US dollars, but I could get rewards in that coin as well? And if I could use that coin to take a ride, and it was cheaper if I used the coin than US dollars, I'd probably use the coin. So there's utility there. Now, if there's utility there, and I can use that coin over and over and over again, what if someone else said, instead of using $10 to take this ride, I want to buy $5 worth of the coin and take the same ride because it saves me money? That sounds simple. It happens all the time in the cryptocurrency world. But why it's important for us is if we're running on a decentralized network and these coins start to be used to take these rides, there becomes a marketplace for that coin. There becomes a marketplace to where people go, I'll give you money right now for those coins. And the value of those coins, when we start a company like this, will be less than a penny, maybe a tenth of a penny, maybe a hundredth of a penny. But over time, some of these blockchain projects that I've seen, some of them that I've been a part of, the coins have gone from less than a tenth of a cent to over 50 cents per coin. And what if you had thousands of those coins? What if you had hundreds of thousands? What if you had millions of those coins? Now, again, you never know. The coin could always be worth nothing. But the more people that use it, the more demand there is, the more value there is with that coin. I believe in this technology a lot, like a lot. So I've invested just in the last few months over $53 million into this technology for this program, a few other programs that live on the blockchain. Because I kind of agree with Bill Gates a little bit on the value of blockchain. There's a lot of things I don't agree with Bill Gates on. But when it comes to the power of what blockchain technology does and it allows people to do, I think it's one of those scenarios where I'm fortunate enough to understand it. It's something that most people won't understand, but the good news is you don't have to. If you like the idea of, as a driver, making way more money driving for a company that's decentralized than driving for a company like Uber that is centralized, you'll like blockchain. If you like the idea of sharing an app with someone and getting paid every time that person takes a ride, or sharing an app with somebody who becomes a driver and getting paid every time they give someone a ride, you'll love blockchain technology. I don't need to know much about how a car works. I just need to know when I get in and start it up, the engine turns, I can reverse out and drive where I need to go, and it'll get me to point A to point B. That's kind of like blockchain technology. If you do understand it, great. If you don't, the cool thing is all you need to understand is the simple things. Drivers make way more money over here than they make over anywhere else. People can get rides for less over here than they'd get rides for anywhere else. And people can actually make money by sharing the app with people, which they can't do pretty much anywhere else. You can fire to the next slide. That might be it for me. I might have one more. So there's a few ways to acquire cryptocurrency. You can mine it through node ownership. That's one of the things I do. And we're going to make that available to people in the near future where you can actually own nodes. Now, the downside of owning nodes, usually in this blockchain world, a node will start out at about 2,500. And once people in the industry in that cryptocurrency space start getting involved in certain programs, the cost of nodes can go into the 5,000 to 10,000, which I've got projects that I've got buddies working on that are one node is worth over $100,000. Now, those same nodes 5 years ago were worth $300 at that time, which would be awesome if you bought a bunch of them at $300, which we have a couple buddies that did that. But now, how does the average person buy one of those nodes? You don't. And so I'm working on a program to where people can basically have node ownership and rewards from those nodes for $100 a month. So we'll kind of get into that. That's again, we're pre-launch here. You can purchase cryptocurrency from a friend, a broker, and an exchange. And cryptocurrency is only available to purchase when node owners are willing to part with it, which creates a marketplace for it. Now, there's also a way to get rewarded cryptocurrency, where if you do certain activities, you can get rewarded for those activities. So we can do promotions where it's like, hey, use our app, take rides, get paid. Hey, do more driving than you normally do, get rewarded in cryptocurrency. Obviously, you make your money. You make more money here than you do over there, but you also maybe get rewarded in cryptocurrency, which again, not a big deal. But a year from now, that could be a really, really big deal. So that's really the nuts and bolts on blockchain, cryptocurrency. Again, you don't need to understand the ins and outs of it. What it allows a company to do is eliminate a ton of the admin fees that are eaten up by the Ubers of the world, the Lyfts of the world, and the investors that are peeling off all these dollars and taking it from the drivers and asking customers to pay more and more. The blockchain pretty much removes the need for that big centralized company to need to operate like that. It can let everybody that's participating own the company as a whole. So I'll turn it back over to Paul, and he can kind of share with you some of the things that are available for folks that are early movers in the rideshare space.
So before you get off, Tony, I have to like, we always believe in full transparency when we mess up and make mistakes. And my phone, the minute I said that was Jackie Chan, my phone lit up to let me know that was Bruce Lee, not Jackie Chan, as we were using it as an example. And so I was informed that I don't know my martial arts stars very well. So I was told that. And also, one of the things that it was talked about a second ago is using that to buy Gucci. I know a lot of people in my life that I would rather not be able to use cryptocurrency to buy Gucci with. So I'm going to have to ask that some of those major brands not have a part in that. But are you still on, or did you freeze?
I'm here, buddy.
I just saw you freeze. All right. Thank you so much. So listen, I want to get through this really quickly. What Tony said in really a nutshell is that we're going to have way more than anybody else on the planet when it comes to something like this. Tony is one of those people that is really aggressive when it comes to thinking ahead. All of our partnerships are, and the people in our company. So if you've ever wanted to be involved in something that maybe you didn't completely understand, you've got people like Tony that completely understand it and will put money behind it to make sure that we're on the cutting edge and we have the greatest and latest. So one of the things that we're going to do also on top of everything else is we're going to have something called a founders program. If you right now, how many of you have ever heard you got to be in the right place at the right time? That's true, but you also got to take advantage of it. And so one of the things that we wanted to do for those that are on the call tonight, and for those that you get started over the next 30 days, is we're going to have a founders program. Now, what's going to happen is we are going to take 2% once the company is profitable, which we think will be 6 to 12 months, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less, just depends on how things go. And we'll have 2% for a certain amount of time. That won't be for unlimited forever, but it'll be for a certain amount of time. For those people that really get after it in the first 30 to 60 days, actually first 30 days, And listen, somebody could come in on the 28th day of this program. Today is the day. Today is January 11th, I think it is. 30 days from now, this program will cut off and nobody will be able to get into this founders program. But what happens is we'll take 2% of the profit on a quarterly basis, profit after everything's paid off, after all our bills are done. We'll pay 2% of the profit and we'll split it among those that qualify for this. To qualify, you can become a founding member. And don't worry, this video will be put up as soon as we possibly can. To become a founding member and qualify for the profit sharing pool, you got to follow these simple steps. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a couple of moments. Once we get done tonight on our website, you'll have a form. Now, if you're already involved with Snap, that's okay. Go re-sign up. But once everything is put together after this first 30 days, we will track everything back to our other software. But for the first 30 days, what you want to do is use this site. And you're going to go in and you're going to use the email. If you're already signed up with Snap, use the email that you signed up with. The person that invited you into this business and is on this call tonight, use the email that they give you and sign up with it. Now, when you have other people do the same thing, give them your name and your email. And when they go in and sign up, they'll be tracked back to you. If for some reason something gets messed up, we have a list. James is one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. When I sat down and told him what we need to do, he said, all right, great. I will put together a list. If for some reason they're not tied to someone, we'll contact that person. We'll make sure that they're accredited to the right person. But when we launch our apps within the next 30 to 40 days, we will have everything put together for you. But to qualify for that Founders Program, over the next 30 days, you're going to want to have 30 new individuals, not somebody that's already involved in Snap, 30 new individuals. I don't care if you think they're going to drive. I don't care if you think they're going to be a customer. Get people to sign up because that's how you create massive growth. It's getting people excited. So to secure a minimum of 30 new individuals, sign up and download the client app when we get started for the Rides app. Client, you don't have to have them sign up the app. I have to make that, fix that little thing. Or secure a minimum 30 drivers and 30 customers. If you get 60 drivers and 30 customers or 60 drivers and whatever, if it adds up to 60, I'm not going to care. But the launch period, once a company officially launches, you must complete at least 30 rides within the first 60 days. That's not you personally. That means within your team. So when we open your city, now, if we don't open your city right away, you don't have to worry about it. There's no cost to join, nothing to get involved within this in the Founders 30/30 program. It's absolutely free, but we just wanted to give you an extra incentive over the next 30 days to go out and get people involved. And I will tell you this, there's other programs that we have involved with our company that you can benefit from that we'll be going over. That we have a Facebook page that I will have put up on our website. Just keep going to snaprides.com. We'll have a Facebook group. We'll be putting things up there. There's actually a Q&A section in there that you can go and ask questions. And listen, no question is too dumb. If you put up the question and we answer it, we'll put it up for everyone to see. Over the next 30 days, we'll be doing these calls on a weekly basis. This video will be up so you can start showing people. Our whole goal is we're right now, the pre-launch cities that we're looking at are Vegas, Nashville, Houston, Jupiter, and Miami. Now, what we will do is the cities that really get after it and you get something going in your city over the next 30 days, those are going to be the next cities after we first launch everything. And what will happen is we'll launch a little bit, we'll start slow, and then we'll ramp up and we will scale this thing as quickly as we possibly can. So I don't want to take a lot more of your time, but you can go on the site, snaprides.com. Don't worry about messing it up. If for some reason something does get messed up, we will fix it. We will work with you. We have a support staff already in place. We have people that have already done this and helped build other verticals and launches with me before. They know what they're doing. We are going to make this into a global company that goes out and brings value to drivers, to bring clients, and to our referral partners. So I hope that you got a lot out of this tonight. I hope you're excited about what's going on. If you have questions, you can always send them into support@snaprides.com. And I don't want to take any more of your time. I appreciate you spending a little bit. Sorry about the glitch that we had earlier tonight, but I will promise you this. Tony and I have talked about this with my other partners, Kenny and Michelle and Garrett, and we know that this will dwarf anything that any of us have ever done because this can be global. We'll incorporate our delivery program into it. We'll do other delivery stuff within it. I met with a few gentlemen from Miami tonight before I left town. And I sat down with 4 gentlemen, and they spoke nothing but Spanish. I barely speak English. And we had a gentleman named Armando that interpreted everything for us. And at the end of the conversation, after I showed them what we're doing, even with the language barrier, even with everything going on, they said they were excited before, but they're even 10 times more excited now. They already planned a meeting for January 24th down in Miami that I'm going to do. And he said, listen, Paul, I promise you, I'm going to have 100 people minimum sitting there ready to go because of how excited and the opportunity that's here. So 2024 is a brand new year. If you've been looking for an opportunity, I hope you take this as an opportunity and getting started and just play with us and understand it's not going to be perfect. But I promise you this, there were people that sat with Tony and I and Kenny and Michelle and Garrett on a call 2.5 years ago where we didn't have an app for our delivery. We didn't have anything going on. And within a short 2.5 years, we've been able to go out and build companies that have built $1 billion in revenues for our clients, for our referral partners, for the IBOs, independent business owners that work within our company. And I promise you this, I've never been more dedicated, more excited, and more fired up to build a company than I am right now, because I've got some things to prove over the next 12 to 18 months. And I promise you, if you play with us, I'll give you everything I've possibly got to make this, because I come from a place where I shouldn't be successful. I barely got out of high school. I had friends of mine that were very, very smart. My parents, my mom was valedictorian. I have a saying with my mom. My mom graduated summa cum laude, and I got out of high school, Lordy, how come? But because of an industry that we're in, I've been able to be extremely successful. And now my goal is to turn around and help as many people as I possibly can. So I appreciate you taking your time tonight. I hope you get started with us, and we will talk to you very soon. Have a great night, guys.